What if your lack of motivation, foggy brain, and mid-afternoon nap had nothing to do with willpower and everything to do with overlooked parts of your health? That's what we're going to be dealing with today, right after this. Welcome, everybody. This is Health Shots by Life Enthusiast, and we are here to restore vitality to you and the planet. I'm your host, Scott Patton. Joining us, as usual, is health coach Martin Patella. Martin, how are you doing today?
It's a fine day, Scott. It's a fine day.
Awesome.
The pressure is off.
What
if
pressure?
you're into astrology, you will know that we have just escaped the greatest compression of violence or danger or whatever. It just happened on the 25th, 6th, and 7th of April. And astrologically speaking, we are now, what's the word? You can come out of the closet. You can crawl from under the bed. You can just stop being really worried that stuff's going to blow up in your face.
Wow. So this is like Mercury retrograde on steroids.
Oh, yeah. This was Pluto-Mars conjunction with the new moon and the Mercury retrograde all piled up with another bunch of... Anyway, the most intense pileup of planets we've had in probably 2,000 years.
Wow.
So
that explains all the things that have been happening around the world.
Well, like the power outage in France or Spain or whatever would be
Portugal,
on
France.
that. It would be one of those that the idiot driving into people in Vancouver, BC, that would be one of those kind of things.
There was a massive downpour in Medellin, Colombia, and the streets were just flooded.
Yeah.
And some people fell into the river and they were just not floating, swept down the, and people on the outsides are yelling and screaming, trying to, what do I do? I can't jump in and get them. So
they're on their own.
And then there was a volcano that I saw, and it had like two things just shooting up like crazy. Although that wasn't, destroying anything.
Yeah.
All right.
Wild.
So we're going to be talking about getting away from surface level health and get into the deep drivers like stress, hormones, mental load that really break down, the four pillars of full spectrum health, which are your mental health, your digestive health, your hormonal health, and of course, movement. We talk a lot about how we're sitting for 8 hours, 10 hours in front of our computer. We're sitting in a car for a couple hours a day. We are not getting the exercise that we should have. And 10,000 and 20,000 years ago, evidently human beings walked 40 miles a day. So that 1 mile that I'm trying to walk a day really seems insignificant. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
So which angle do you want to grab first?
I think we don't do anything if we're not mentally prepped and prepared to do it. So let's start with our mental health.
Right. Okay. So that starts with set the day right in the morning. Set your intention. Well, actually, pick when. Maybe before you go to bed, do a little recalibration and tell yourself what you're going to dream about that night. Maybe recapitulate what you did the day. Do your grateful for list. Right? I'm grateful for this. The people in your life. Even if you're drowning in trouble, you should theoretically be able to find something you're grateful for.
Yes.
So that's the evening. So you wake up in the morning remembering that you're grateful for something. So you just get set. And then you have to remember to fix your pH. Because if you're waking up to alkaline, you're unmotivated and wanting to just get nothing done. So you need to eat the foods that will bring you closer to the middle. And if you are already acidic, too acidic, you'll be waking up anxious, worried about the world, or angry at the world. And you need to eat the foods that will pull you out of that toward the middle. That's the number one for mental health. Yes, George Common's pH is important. What's also important is knowing your metabolic type, because your pH will be corrected not universally, but by matching what you need.
Yeah. So when someone comes up to you and says, I eat a banana and I just am really relaxed, and then you eat a banana and you're jumping up and down the walls, that's because you have different metabolic types.
Yeah, you have just defined example A, the autonomic, example B, the oxidizer.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So we start today
mental
off right.
health 1, right?
Yeah.
Mental health 2, you need to have neurotransmitters. And dopamine, serotonin, all the other ones. That's a nutritional thing. You need to have a healthy gut, because most of these are made. The stuff that's in the brain is made in the brain. Yes, they're produced in the brain, but a lot of it gets assembled in the gut. So for that, you need gut health.
And you would also need the building blocks, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Like if you're eating high processed foods that don't have any of those nutrients that are required, it's a uphill battle.
Yeah. Well, myself, I take True Hope and Power Plus. That's my baseline. I take 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening, always, unfailingly. It's just baseline. And they are vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and herbals put together carefully to just give you the edge. For older people, it helps with memory and processing. There are 2 angles, right? Cognition and recall.
Right.
And you can fail at both. Recall is when you can't remember what that tool is called. Honey, bring me that yellow-handled thingy. The yellow-handled thing. And that's the memory. That's the recall. Can't get the nouns. And the other one is the cognition, as in, think your way through a problem. Some people just can't.
So you brought up there was a Filipino festival in Vancouver last weekend, and a guy drove a truck through there, killed, I think, 11 people and injured
11 dead, 50 injured. Yeah.
And so now in the follow-up, they said, well, this is a person who has been in mental institutions, and we're not exactly sure why he was out. So
this guy Scott had 50 plus interactions with police. They had evaluated him just 1 day earlier and decided that he posed no immediate threat.
Right.
So I guess their evaluation method failed to take into account the astrology, because the next day came the Pluto-Mars hit, and the less stable people get run.
Right.
Like run. And I don't know. I've talked to a person who worked in an asylum, in a place where people are confined because they're unstable. And she'd say, "Oh, full moons and new moons, always Looney Tunes."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And nobody ever talks about it. Like no one says, well, the energetic stuff around us makes a huge impact on the way people behave.
Yeah, absolutely.
So should he have been more, I guess he should have been more alkaline and had a nap.
Yes. Don't we wish that he was not so dysregulated that he just took off? I would like to know what psychotropic drugs he was on that he mismanaged. A whole lot of violent acts happen when people either skip a dose or change or whatever, do something with psychotropic drugs.
Yeah, when they're on it, lots of bad things happen.
Yeah.
So if we had got, if we'd got his gut and his digestive system working properly, if we'd have taught him the power of gratitude, do you think that would have made a big difference?
Possibly enough. Possibly enough. I mean, this fellow has been mentally ill for years, right? So he's clearly unstable. He probably has a horrendous microbiome that causes his brain to never function right. There's this connection, Scott. There are these three barriers, and it's the blood-brain barrier, the gut barrier, and the immune system. And any one of them will leak into one another. If you have a breach of the blood-brain barrier, for example, through a traumatic brain injury, like, I don't know.
A car accident.
Like that. It will affect your gut and it will affect your immunity. But these three spots talk to one another. So if you have a bad gut, you will have a bad brain or bad immunity. And so, what is it called when you shake your head too hard?
Concussion.
Oh, that's the word. See, I need to go eat something because I'm not processing fast enough. Right? Like, yeah. I have not had any food since, about 16 hours ago, and I'm starting to run on empty. Yeah.
No, I'm the same way, but that's because I have diarrhea. I ate something here in Mexico that I shouldn't have, and I've been running to the baño every half hour all night.
Oh, God. So that's what happened to you.
Yeah.
I wish we remembered to send.
Oh, no, get out of bed quick. And I would run to the bathroom, and fortunately, no accidents. But
oh, Lord. I so wish remembered to send you a bottle of antibiotics.
Yeah. Yes. Well, actually, I'm going to place an order because I've talked to a few people. They said, oh, yeah, you can get stuff in Mexico, no problem. So I need to get Strataflora antibiotics, the Skin Sorcerer for the face. This is why I look so young, because I use Skin Sorcery.
Yeah.
And I have a big bottle of fumic acid. So like the big bottle.
All right, that may save the day.
Yeah, I'm going to start pouring it into my glass with the water. So, okay. So we've talked about the gut and the brains. What about the hormones?
What about the hormones? All right. Well, those are slower moving things, but they can still cause you plenty of trouble, right? Like long term for women, women are just so interesting because they have these swings between progesterone and estrogen, up, down, right? Progesterone is the pregnancy hormone, feel-good hormone, feel-stable hormone. Estrogen is the irritation, stimulation, but also blossoming, right? Yeah, back and forth. Guys are just one switch, on or off.
Right, testosterone.
Yeah. And
so we're in a situation where it's getting into the mainstream media more and more and more. China has like 0.7 children per couple. The United States is around 1. Canada is probably around 1. Europe and the UK are around 1.
All of the industrialized world is below replacement. We're shrinking. The only part of the world that's currently above replacement are in most African countries and Pakistan and I think India.
Yeah.
Like the average in Pakistan is something like 3.5 kids. In Nigeria, it's something like 6 or 7.
Yeah. Yeah. And then in New York, it's half of one.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So people ask, like, is this because two people
Yeah.
earning in the family, they get worn out, they get home, they're tired, they're eating poorly, so their hormones are down. They just like, and also thinking, oh my God, if I bring a baby in, how am I going to handle that extra load? Or
I
is it
actually, I, I actually think this has a lot to do with it.
I mean, it used to be 50 years ago that the man went to work, the woman looked after the house, raised the kids, looked after the kids, watched the kids, and had the kids.
Yeah, and had the kids.
And I mean, it's a big job raising children because they're all over the place and who knows where they are, and you need a lot of energy for it. And if you're working, 10 hours a day when you include transit times and lunches, then it's pretty hard. I think the other part of it I think that needs to be looked at, and I think the other part of it that needs to be looked at is how does the diet that people are eating affect it, what they're drinking affect it, the general pollution in the home, right? We have fumes getting given off by our carpets and stuff like that. And then the general environment.
I mean, you're mentioning all of the stuff that goes into it, right? This low fertility.
Because it's not just that nobody is trying to have kids, right? Because what is one of the biggest, fastest growing industries? Fertility clinics, where you're in vitro and you're trying this and you're trying that, and they're taking eggs and putting them in there and fertilizing them outside of the human body and all the rest of it. So we can't really just say, well, they're working hard and they don't want to have kids, because there's a significant number of people that, whether they're working hard or not, are trying to have kids, spending tens of thousands of dollars and unable to have kids.
Right. And a lot has to do with the inflammation within the body. One of the worst things is called PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is caused by high level of insulin, which is caused by high level of glucose, which is caused by high level of starch, which is caused by high level of grains like wheat, corn, rice, potato in the diet. So that's the cascade, right? You eat food that's too hot calorically, you're creating these fires within, which then cause you to not be able to bring the egg to settle into the uterus and implant and grow.
I love that idea of it's hot and you've got this fire, and now your egg is a fried egg, not a egg about to be fertilized.
Right. Yes, sir.
As an analogy, obviously it's not a fried egg inside somebody, but when you have all of that heat and everything happening, then you're not going to have a fertilized egg.
Yep.
All right.
Fried egg. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the questions we want to ask everybody is, where do you feel strong in your health? Where are you ignoring signs from your body? And what I'd like, Martin, is for you to spend a few minutes, put on your health coach hat and just talk about, like, how could I tell where I'm feeling strong in my health? And how could I tell where I'm ignoring signs from my body? I mean, in my case, if I ignored the sign from my anus, I would have a mess all over the place.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. You have it overwhelming. So if you start running, we know what happened. The urge came upon you. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, you have an emergency. You have an acute situation. There are two situations, right? Acute and chronic. And acute as in right now,
Yep.
is a situation that's like you twist your ankle. That's an acute problem. You
Right.
eat the wrong food, drink the wrong water. That's an acute problem.
Right.
Now,
But
a
most
chronic,
of us have a chronic problem, right? Because it's
yeah,
kind of like you start living with it and it's just normal. And you don't think, well, you know what? This isn't normal.
yeah. And so the cells go from excitation to adaptation, which actually is a loss of function. You function less well, adapted to the loss of. George is clever. He wants you to drink silver water.
Well,
Well,
you know,
it's
what's
red
kind of
water.
funny is I went to Santa Clara de Cobre, Santa Clara of Copper, an old copper mine where they make copper. And in it, I got I wanted a cup this size, right, for my superfoods. And in it is plated silver. And it wasn't until I started drinking from this that I had my problem. So I don't know if it's related or not. And,
Oh,
but I've stopped drinking from it because I thought, like, what has changed? Okay, well, I had something to eat there, and that probably is what it was. But I was changing also where I was getting my water from, and
oh,
who knows, right?
yeah, man. Okay.
So we know that you can, put a lot of stuff in your body to help with your gut health, but that's not really, that's the acute thing. We know we can do those sort of things. Rest, for example. I got like 14 hours sleep last night. Well,
Yeah.
14 hours in bed with occasional every hour jumping out. But most people don't have that. Like, it's kind of like you said before, like when you take a hammer and you're hammering a nail and you hit your thumb, it hurts. And then after a while, it stops hurting and you've got a bruise. Well, the body has said, okay, this isn't going to kill. So we don't have to be like panicking like we were panicking. And
Yep.
so these chronic things are probably very similar. Uh, like I know a lot of women who, when they have their period, they're just like hopeless. Like they're in pain, they're in bed, they're just suffering. And they think that's normal, right? But that's
Well,
telling me
it's regular.
it's regular, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they get used to it.
Yeah, it's expected. Just because you feel shitty doesn't mean that that's how life is supposed to be.
Right. But nobody ever tells them, like, you need to get your hormones back in tune because
Yeah.
this is not normal, right?
Right. Yeah, yeah. And so uh, that starts
Here's,
in the gut. Whatever is not right in the gut hits the liver, and the liver is the place where the hormones are regulated, not where they're created, but where they're uncreated. And if your liver is not working right, then you have always drama around the, the hormonal situation.
right.
Yeah,
Okay, so you need to work on your liver.
you need to work on everything. Like you need to be whole. It's the holistic thing, right? And that this is one of the disasters of the modern industrial world, where we tell people, I have the solution, I have the easy button, I have the magic pill, I have the silver bullet, take my thing and you'll be fine.
Right.
And that's what the pharmaceutical industry has been pounding into people. Take a pill, it'll take care of your ill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we know with our fibromyalgia group, where we have over 140,000 members, is almost, well, I would say like 20 or 30% of them every day will post, you know what, I've been on this drug for 6 months. It's causing all sorts of side effects that I don't like, and it's not really doing anything like it did when I first started taking it.
Right. Yeah. Works for a while, then diminishes.
Now you got to take more.
The thing that really got pounded into me so safely was listening to Gary Brecka, who did 20 years as an employee somewhere in a large insurance company, where they were evaluating candidates for a large amount life insurance policies. When somebody takes out $100,000, that's not a big deal. But when somebody takes $1 million or 2 or 3 life insurance policy, they want to know if that person will live long enough to actually pay in that $1 million. They're not in the business of losing money on it. They always want to have a strong chance of actually making a profit on it, which means that they need to know, will the man will or person will live long enough to pay in what they're going to pay out. It's not a charity, it's a business.
And they really need to know their data.
Oh, anyway, so they know their data, and Gary was reading this, and he said, with every added prescription drug, I could determine with greater precision when that person's going to die. And it was never later, it was always earlier. For every added pharmaceutical, you shorten your life.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So chemicals, there's just no way that you can poison yourself out of a toxic situation.
Right. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
So Martin, we're coming up to the end of our time. So let's tie this up. What are your final thoughts?
Well, my thought is that the hormonal health starts in the gut, that the energy health starts in the gut. And so we need to treat it like it mattered. So are you digging your grave with your fork? Therefore, start from the superfoods, start from the all-in-one blends that will try and restore and support your balance.
Right.
Yeah.
And then take inventory, right? Look at, what are you drinking every day? 3 Coke. Okay. Well, you got to get it down to 2. Then you got to get it down to 1, and then you got to get it out. So what are you going to drink instead? Right. And then take the time, because it's really difficult when you're addicted to, let's just say, Coca-Cola or Pepsi, that you can't just cold turkey it, right? You're going to go crazy. So you need to wean yourself off if you want to be successful. I mean, there are people that can just stop, but boy, oh boy, it's hard. So look at what you're eating. How much of it is organic? How much of it is whole foods? How much of it is super processed? How much of it is, vegetable oil that sits on the shelf for 8 months before you buy it?
Yeah.
All those sort of good things.
Let's list the 5 things that should never cross your lips, right? I also sin. Father, I have sinned. But these things are refined sugar, refined flour, refined salt, refined plant seed oils, and homogenized pasteurized dairy made from northern cows. Those things will get you every time. They will shorten your life.
So what happens when you drop the amounts of these things that you're eating is your body starts to get healthier and healthier and healthier. Whether you go from 10 Coke a day to 1 Coke, or you go from 3 to 1, or water to clean water, those sort of things. And then when you go back, because it's always up and down, right? It's never a straight line. And you go, I feel like having a Coca-Cola. I don't know why I'm picking on Coke today. And then you drink that Coke, and then for the next hour, you just feel crappy. And then it's like, I'm not used to that poison anymore. So now, but you have to be aware, right? Like, oh my goodness, that gave me a dopamine hit like crazy in my tongue. But my head is got a headache. I'm laying on my bed. I feel sick. I have no energy.
Yeah, I remember a woman who had a 2-liter, I guess 2 quart, diet Pepsi habit, addiction. And if she didn't take a hit, she was getting migraines. Yeah. And it was required of her to wake up in the middle of the night and have some on the nightstand and drink it, because she was getting low. Yeah,
Wow.
it's problematic because the sugar alternative, whatever that's called, I don't know if it's aspartame or some derivative, sweet and low, one of those things. It's a neurotoxin, and so it maintains you in a band of dysfunction. And if you drop it, you start getting a headache.
Right.
People who try to drop coffee get headaches. People who try to drop cigarettes get headaches. Those are withdrawal symptoms of the body trying to detox.
Right.
Yeah.
So don't try to do it yourself. You know, I find someone who's an expert at detoxing or a health coach that can help you through the process. Because one of the things I noticed about me is if I know this is what's going to happen, I'm prepared for it. Right. So it reminds me actually of, I took my two sons for a hike, and it was at Shannon Falls, which is, I don't know, like 1,000 feet straight up sort of thing. And there's stairs and there's all this stuff. So for 2 weeks, I said, okay, next, Sunday, 2 weeks from now, we're going up Shannon Falls, and it's really steep. It's really going to be hard. It's really going to be and I just built it up as this massive, hugely difficult thing. So the day comes, we hike up, we hike down, we get to the bottom. They both look at each other. They look at me and they say, that wasn't that hard.
All right.
So if you have this expectation, right? Like, oh, I drink Coke all the time, I don't have a problem stopping drinking Coke. You're fooling yourself, right? And then it's like, headaches. Do you connect the headaches to the Coke? No, probably not. And then, this lady that you're talking about obviously did. But then it just makes it like, oh, this is just too hard. Whereas it's like, no, it's going to be hard. You're going to have to, you have a choice between an ice cream cone and an apple, or an ice cream cone and a steak, right? Depending, or a salad, right? Like, wow, the ice cream cone is be picked by 90% of the people, right? But it's good for you. So do you want to have the short-term pain for a long-term gain, or do you want to have the short-term gain, eat that ice cream and have long-term pain because you're 50 pounds overweight in 10 years?
Yeah.
It really is your choice. Yeah. Like George says, mind over matter. Oh,
yeah,
and
that's actually a good way of saying it. Yeah. Set your expectation, know what's coming, and it will be a lot better. Oh, Miss Celestioso wants to help us. We so need some enlightened people in that fibromyalgia group.
I'm finding the link for you. I'll put it in the comments.
Yeah, it's on Facebook. So you need to be on Facebook to join it. And you could friend either one of us. Yeah. All right. Okay. What do you think, Scott? Are we done talking?
We're just about done. I just want to put the link. And for some reason, I put a backslash, so we'll get rid of the backslash. But it's facebook.com/groups/your fibromyalgia support. Oh, great. Truly, I've seen some of the stuff you put there. She's like, I'm on there. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So thank you for joining us, everybody. Really appreciate having you with us. Head over to www.life-enthusiast.com. You can see all the amazing stuff that Martin has curated and tested. This is not a place where you go where some nameless person had just got us a really good deal and put some generic vitamin C up. He checks everything all of the time. And join us live every Wednesday at 2:30. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Well, no capital W. Every Wednesday at 2:30 Eastern, we'll be here. Make sure that you tell your friends. It really, really helps when you like the video, when you subscribe, and when you share it. And if we had half the people on here sharing it, to Facebook and X and LinkedIn, it would make a massive difference for us. So thank you for your support. And with that, Martin, we'll see you next week. Oh, just to let everybody know, the month of May is a big, big month. And we're going to be taking a deep dive into mental health and recovering from burnout. So next week, we're going to be talking about mental health and burnout. And then we're going to talk about gut health and immune support the following week. And then the third week, women's hormone health. So we've touched on these up until now. And then the last one is movement as medicine. So we're really excited about next month. Spring has sprung. Get out, start walking.
Yeah.
George says it sounds good. Thank you. Appreciate you, George. And thank you for taking time, Martin, out of your busy day. This has been Health Shots by Life Enthusiast, restoring, I was going to say prosperity, vitality to you and the planet. See you next week.
Okay. Restoring prosperity to your wallet.
There you go. And vitality to you and the planet.